Hello and welcome everyone. It is Trades Talk Tuesday with your host, Pop Culture Mechanic, but you can call me Pop for short. I've been in the trades for over 25 years, been a journeyman for over 10 of those years, so I like to think I know what I'm talking about. I don't know everything, but that's why you're here. You can help correct me if I'm wrong. So let's begin here. Welcome, Alex Moore. Good to see you. We will start off, as I so often do, by just looking over a bit of the news in the trades area. And for that, I'm going to need to do this. One thing caught my eye here. It's your new normal, Canada's aging workforce root of national labor shortage. What are they trying to do? Blame the older workers? It's not their fault they're getting older. There's a labor shortage because not enough young people are going into the skilled trades. As I've been saying the whole time I've started up this particular stream that I do, Trades Talk Tuesdays. This is number 9. So ever since I started it 9 weeks ago, I've been saying we need to get the younger generation into the trades. It says here, when Dan Gallagher looks around his company, he sees a lot of retirement parties in his future. While it's not something he formally tracks, the CEO of Mickiso Group, a Fort McMurray, Alberta-based company that specializes in oil sands site services, maintenance, logistics, and construction, knows he's got more employees approaching the end of their careers than just starting out. I take a walk around our shop and around our field services workforce, and I can clearly see that demographic. It's aging, Gallagher says. The implications of that make him nervous. Mickiso Group is already struggling with a shortage of labor, even recruiting as far away as Australia, just to keep its fleet of heavy equipment moving. And basic demographics suggest the company's problem is set to get worse, not better. The ratio of apprentice to older worker here has been so low for so long that there just isn't the bench strength to offset the people who are leaving, Gallagher says. For years, experts have been warning of a looming wave of retirements as baby boomers, those born between 1946 and 1964, and Canada's largest generation by size, grow older and start to exit the workforce en masse. The country's labor force growth rate has been trending downward since 2000, but the trend has intensified in recent years. This gray wave has been on the horizon for a while, but experts say it's now crashing ashore. According to Statistics Canada, between 2016 and 2021, more than 1.4 million Canadians entered the ranks of those aged 55 and older. Last year alone, 1 in 5 Canadians of working age were aged 55 to 64, an all-time high in the history of Canadian census. It's like a truck pulling up in your rearview mirror. You see it there, and it's moving slowly, and then you look away for a while, and suddenly it's completely on your tail, said Mike Holden, chief economist for the Business Council of Alberta. The arrival of the grey wave is occurring at the same time that businesses of every size in every industry and in every province are complaining of labor shortages. As of the second quarter of 2022, there are more than 1 million vacant jobs in Canada, the highest quarterly number on record. That's not a coincidence. While the COVID pandemic did disrupt labor markets, it has borne a lot of blame for ongoing labor shortages. But Canada's labor force participation rate is currently only slightly below where it was pre-pandemic. In fact, young and middle-aged Canadians have returned to the workforce at levels either close to or well above that observed in 2019, a Scotiabank report points out. The same report says the decline in overall workforce participation that does exist is entirely due to Canadians aged 60 and above exiting the workforce. That means the real root of current problem is Canada's aging population and its broad implications in the country's economy. I don't agree with this. Why would you say that it's there? You can't say that the real root of the problem is the aging population. People are always going to get older no matter what. The problem is not getting the people to replace them. Get those young kids into construction jobs and such, and they will replace them as time goes by. Stop blaming the aging population. It goes on. I think the most important thing that gets overlooked is, what are the consequences of these labor challenges, says Patrick Gill, Senior Director of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce's Business Data Lab. He points out that around 1 in 3 Canadian businesses, 36%, already report they are currently facing a shortage of labor. That figure climbs to about 45% within the manufacturing and construction industries and 58% in the food and accommodation sector. It translates to everyone working more hours, and that ultimately affects quality of life. It means slower growth, and it also a factor in supply chain delays. Okay, I've seen this personally at where I'm at right now. The person I replaced, he's getting in retirement age. He's retiring. I'm replacing him. We have people leaving, going to other places. It's going to be a shock that there's going to be, more of the work will be done by less people. So it's going to be a strain on them. Hello, Punkwaddle. Nice to have you stop by. This is real all over? You bet it is. I've been saying this, and you've probably heard me say this a lot on these streams, that this is a big problem. And you can't just blame the aging workforce, because that doesn't do any good at all. You have to tell the young generation, hey, you guys, there's lots of jobs here, and you make good money. You should get into the trades and get out there. I guess it's not just the trades too. It says here it's manufacturing and construction industries and food and accommodation. So concerned business groups have proposed a number of possible solutions to the looming demographic crisis, from boosting immigration levels to finding ways to retain older Canadians in the workforce for longer. Oh, because I'm sure somebody who's getting towards retirement age wants to stick around. I mean, yeah, I suppose it can be there where, you like your job and you don't mind sticking around. But when you're getting to 65, you really want to just, ease into retirement. You usually don't want to stick around. It says some observers have even suggested the government should increase the age of old age security partly in order to discourage early retirement. Why? Getting the government involved? Don't even. That's just ridiculous. People are going to have to work until they work themselves to death, it looks like. So they're really coming at it from the wrong direction if they want to do that. At least in my opinion. What do you guys think? The hell do you call this thing? Anyways, it goes on. The article goes on. But even a significant increase in immigration won't be enough to halt the coming tide, says Raphael Gomez, director of the University of Toronto Centre for Industrial Relations and Human Resources. The last of Canada's baby boom generation will turn 65 in 2030. That's 8 years away. Actually, closer to 7 now. And once this cohort is out of the workforce entirely, the working age population, those aged 15 to 64, will make up a smaller proportion of the overall Canadian population. Yes, this is basic demographics. They could have saw this years ago just by following the trends of the ages of the population as they move along. He goes on. This is always going to bite us, Gomez says. Demographic trends are not easy to shift in a short-term way. In fact, it's true that for 20 years we're going to see a decline in the labor force. While governments should employ every policy lever at their disposal to address labor shortages, Gomez says employers also need to accept the fact that the challenges they're having right now filling vacancies are not going to go away. It is your new normal, and even if the economy goes in the tank, it's not going to change the labor conditions, he says. We are entering a time where we are going to have a younger workforce, doing more, being asked to do more, being bidded for and competed for, Gomez adds. Okay, that bidding and competing for, that's good for the worker, because you will be able to pick and choose which jobs you want to go to. It's like, oh, do I want to go to this place or do I want to go to this? Well, they're offering more money. These guys offer better benefits. These guys have better working hours. You can pick and choose. And this is the way it was for myself. Going from the last job I was at to this one, I I was perfectly content. I could have stayed where I was at, but I thought I'd give it a chance. And yeah, I was able to be like, oh yes, I'll apply here. And yeah, it went really well. Labor is going to be very difficult to find, and employers are going to have to work hard to attract employees. Yes. But yeah, the blaming of the older generation for wanting to retire, that's dumb. I don't know, why would the person that wrote this shouldn't even have considered that an option. It's just not the way I think it should go. What else we got here? Biden visits Arizona computer chip site. I've been saying that they have to build more places in North America that make chips, or whether it's for vehicles, computers, anything that needs computer chips. You should have your own facilities that make them. The older generation that offers experience and wisdom are leaving, though. They are chasing after the inexperienced because they are cheaper, but they all are also easier to influence because you definitely make a good point, Punkwaddle. Believe it or not, I consider myself, well, I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X, but I only got another probably 15 years to go before I decide I want to retire. So hopefully they bring in someone who can train under me, and I can make sure they are all trained up by the time I decide to do my retirement. But we'll see how that goes. In this one, President Joe Biden on Tuesday visited the site of a new computer chip plant in Arizona, using it as a chance to emphasize how his policies are fostering job growth in what could be a challenge to the incoming Republican House majority. I don't know much about American politics, so I'm just going to wing it. I don't claim to understand who does what. Biden has staked his legacy in large part on major investments in technology and infrastructure that were approved by Congress along bipartisan lines. The Democratic president maintains that the factory jobs fostered by $52 billion in semiconductor investments and another $200 billion for scientific research will help to revive the U.S. middle class. What I'm most excited about is people are starting to feel a sense of optimism as they see the impact of the achievements in their own lives, Biden said Tuesday. It's going to accelerate in the months ahead, and it's part of a broad story about the economy we're building that works for everyone. And the younger generation 10 years ago was disenfranchised and didn't want to work corporate jobs but have 3 part-time jobs. It's going to shift back to something more consistent eventually. Okay, yeah, for sure. And I like that. I hope it does. Yeah, working corporate jobs, it's not for everyone. I mean, and especially like stuff that's in like a white collar job in a cubicle, and a lot of people don't care for that. A lot of people want to work outside. That's fine. Work outside, be an arborist, do stuff like that. And yeah, having to work 3 part-time jobs, where's the time? Like, you're gonna work yourself to death. That's what it comes down to. You have to work that many, and if you have to work 3 part-time jobs, they're obviously not very high paying. So, yeah, it's. I hope it does make that shift back, like you're saying, because it would be a benefit a lot of people, for sure. The article goes on, but there are signs that past moments of bipartisanship on economic matters may be harder to replicate after November's midterm elections, in which Republicans won a House majority. Biden still pitches in the investments as a sign of what happens when lawmakers partner with each other, but Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy, who could be the next speaker, attacked the legislation in a July floor speech as a blank check and corporate welfare. They wanted to be cool and not have benefits. Oh man, yeah, that's what always got me. I don't I don't remember if I've ever worked a part-time job. Yeah, no, maybe when I was just starting out. But I remember not having benefits or anything when I worked for a temp agency. I guess that's what it was. It was full-time work, but it was through a temp agency, so I didn't get any benefits. And, you just pretty much show up and, hey, what do you want? What would you like me to do? And they tell you what to do, and it's just grunt work. It says the president is battling high inflation that has left most Americans feeling as though the country's economic prospects are bleak. That has provided Republicans with a target for saying Biden is not meeting the needs of American families. Biden toured a Phoenix plant being completed by the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company that was announced in 2020 during Donald Trump's presidency. TSMC also announced it's investing a total of $40 billion in Arizona, which plans to build a second plant. Biden administration officials said the two TSMC plants, as well as new factories by Intel, Micron, Wolfspeed, and others, would give a decisive edge to the American military and economy at a time when competition with China is heating up. Yes, make your own stuff. Temp to hire makes sense. Yeah, I guess. You show them, and we did that before, where when I was working at the garbage dump, we would hire temporary people and see if they worked out, and then we would hire them full time. It's like, yeah, you fit in, you're good, you do a good job, so here we are, we're going to hire you full time. What else it says? It says, but it can be challenging to explain how more U.S. chip production will change Americans' lives. And Biden struggled Tuesday to talk about semiconductors that are just 3 nanometers in size. Holy. That is tiny. Like 3 nanochip. 3 nanochip. Wow, that's crazy. The White House has simultaneously launched a video campaign to highlight the array of non-tech jobs associated with the semiconductor industry. Biden has visited 4 other computer chip sites since September, with the highly paid factory jobs promising spillover hiring for construction, janitorial services, and other businesses. Featured in the video campaign in Paul Sarzosa, president and CEO of VerdiClean, Sarzosa founded the company in 2019. It won a contract to clean TSMC's construction site, accounting for a third of its 150 jobs. Sarzosa's company will clean the semiconductor plant with workers wearing what's known as a bunny suit to prevent any contamination from hair or skin. Yeah, I know you got to be really clean in like a semiconductor manufacturing. Otherwise you could ruin a bunch of chips, I guess, with all the hair and flaky skin. The government's investment was key for his company's growth, and he expects to add 150 to 200 more employees next year. It's one step at a time, Sarzosa said, but it's a tremendous opportunity for us. Computer chip company Intel has also invested in Arizona, which has become a microcosm of the nation's broader political divides. The state on Monday certified the results of this year's elections, a process drawn out by many GOP officials who falsely claimed the 2020 election in which Biden beat Trump was rigged. Republican Arizona Governor Doug Ducey attended the event, as did newly elected Democratic successor Katie Hobbs. Arizona's current Secretary of State also attending were Apple CEO Tim Cook, TSMC founder Morris Chang, Micron CEO Sanjay Mehrotra, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Biden uses his visits to chip plants to talk about jobs he expects will come to those regions, a process that could take a decade or longer to come to full fruition. Companies could face a challenge in finding educated workers for jobs which incomes averaging over $100,000 a year. Woof! According to Labor Department figures. Say, that's nothing to sneeze at. You're earning $100,000 US a year. Woof! That's good stuff. Ronnie Chatterjee, White House coordinator for the chip investments, said the investments will shape entire regions of the country in ways that are overlooked now. So is Arizona giving them like big tax breaks or something, or is the tax rate very low in Arizona? Does anybody know? I'm not too savvy when it comes to state tax laws and such, and what their benefits are. I know a lot of, from reading stuff, I know a lot of companies are getting the hell out of California. What else does it say? It says, 10 years from now, we'll be talking about all the jobs in Arizona, Chatterjee said in an interview. You won't be able to talk about that part of Arizona without thinking about the impact of those companies. But Biden might need to thread a needle and preserve a sense of bipartisanship for the long-term investments to succeed, said Keith Krach, a business executive who, as an undersecretary of state in the Trump administration, helped bring TSMC to Arizona. He said the investments will rival NASA's Apollo program, which didn't just land men on the moon, but also made the U.S. a leader in microelectronics, software, computers, and aerospace. Krach said that preserving political unity is key, and the way to do that for the political leaders to stress how the chip plants can keep the U.S. ahead of China. It's unifying, Krach said, because Chinese President Xi Jinping is terrified of the United States having a Sputnik moment, which I think this really represents, and declaring a moonshot. I think it's good that they can build more chip factories in the United States. That way, they're there, they're on your soil, you need them, boom, you got them. Oh, look at this next one. Japan and Belgium to cooperate in chip production development. Opportunities to invest. Experts say space business needs boost in Canada. Well, I don't know. I know we do the Canadarm for the that we had that for the space shuttle, and I think the space station also has a Canadarm as well. So maybe we can do that, but I don't know if we're going to be launching rockets from Canada here. Do we got time? I got time. I got time to check this out. Hopefully you guys are interested in space. It starts off, it's hard to make things work in space, and even harder to make money there. With a long history in the space industry and a pocket full of healthy companies, Canadians are good at both. But industry executives and experts say the country needs a booster to maintain an advantage in a sector poised to, well, skyrocket. Oh, yeah, with the puns, eh? All right. We have a lot more experience having companies that make their way in space than a lot of countries do, said Ian Christie, a longtime space executive and analyst. He's a space executive. That's his title. Space executive and analyst. How do you become a space executive? Anyway, well, we're still dining out on work that was done 20 years ago. Until about a decade ago, space was a place for government programs and large militaries. The costs were too high for other players. Arizona was going to add TSMC factory as well. Okay. Good stuff, Alex. Good stuff. But factors including miniaturization and the availability of off-the-shelf technology have drastically cut those costs. So has the entry of private launch companies. In 2000, putting a satellite into orbit cost $25,000 per kilogram, or what's that, like $12,000 a pound. Now, depending on which rocket carries the load, it could be as little as $4,000. Holy, that's a good reduction right there. And hey there, DJ Ronnie G. Pop Waddle. You silly guy, you. It's like 2 Vicks. Yeah. Does that mean we're going to get separated at the end? Voyager wasn't bad. It wasn't my favorite top Star Trek franchise. That would have to go to TNG and then Deep Space Nine. Yeah, 10K per pound and now 12. No, not 12K. It's down. SpaceX has driven down the cost of orbital payload substantially. And you're not going to murder like Janeway did. Yeah. There, I saw there was a video out there about that on YouTube. It was like, did Janeway murder Tuvix? Okay, so it says here, the cost of technology and the cost of launch decreased, said Christie. That created opportunity. In 2011, Stephen Germain realized that increasing concern about greenhouse gas emissions was going to create demand to measure them. which can best be done from space. Today, his company GHGSat has 6 satellites in orbit and another 4 planned over next year. They're able to measure gases such as methane with unprecedented resolution for both emitting companies and investors wanting to quantify the risk. Hey, Jake D, how you doing? Good to see ya. We're just looking over a little article about investing more in Canada's space agency and what we can do. It says here, that's one side of the space economy. Another is building infrastructure. In November, Canadensis. Why can't they just make an easier word? Come on now. Canadensis Aerospace Corporation announced that it would build a lunar rover for NASA's next moon mission. Weeks before, MDA Limited, which also operates satellites, announced the second sale of their Canadarm technology to a company building a private space station. There's a company building a private space station? That's news to me. You've been trying to shut that thing down for years? You've gotten into fights in YouTube comments with people who claim it's a lie about the reduced payload cost on a Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy? Oh. Well, hopefully they don't get too heated. Is that Bigelow Airspace? I'm not sure yet. The importance of those sales goes well beyond their dollar value, said MDA CEO Mike Greenlee. They put Canada where the puck is going. There are opportunities to invest in lunar infrastructure, Greenlee said. Communications networks, electric vehicles, even space-based mining. There are a combination of new areas. Canada's long history in space. It was the third country to launch a satellite. Has also given it recognized expertise in techniques including synthetic aperture radar, which allows satellites to peer through clouds or at night with amazing accuracy. It all adds up to an industry worth about $5.5 billion a year, which employs about 23,000 highly trained Canadians. I bet you some of those are tradesmen, according to the Canadian Space Agency's most recent report. But that's only a small piece of the global pie. Earth is flat, space is a lie, Jake D. Oh, I remember seeing this meme about how the dinosaurs died. You know, if Earth is flat, it's because when the meteor hit, it flipped them all off like a frying pan. You believe in an ice shelf or ice wall, or at least believe in ice. Yeah, I should see that. It's the only true constant out there, Punkwaddle. Ice, and it's cold. And there's lots of it here. We invest heavily in the ice industry, Jake D. We'd love for some asteroid mining. Then we can have Luna 2 and access to support the Earth Federation's space colonization plan. Yeah, and then are we going to get into Gundams and such? Are the colonists is the Earth going to attack the colonists? And they'll have to build Gundams and send them to Earth? What else we got here? Zigzion. I'm going to name my son Trey's, and he's going to be the leader. The concern you have about colonists when they drop on Australia. Yeah. Yeah, but right now, if you've been reading Australian stuff, it might not be so bad for them if that happened. Side 3, taxation with representation. Zigzion. So it goes on here. The European research agency Euroconsult pegged the entire value of the space economy, launch rockets, satellite communications, and Earth observation at around $500 billion in 2021. By 2030, Euroconsult says it will reach $860 billion. If Canada wants a slice, it will have to sharpen its knife, said Ryan Anderson of the Canadian Space Society, a grassroots organization promoting space and space education. Canada has lost its step in terms of market share. We're a victim of our own success. While the country's space economy is good at generating promising startups, not enough of them find the wherewithal to grow, said Anderson. That's the fault of both government and the investment community. Canada is not as ballsy or risky as some other investment pools, said Anderson, and Greenlee agrees. Canada is starting to drift behind a bit. Anio motor turbo off. Can we just save all the fine women before the colony drop? Yes, that should be Wupstolka's master plan. Before the drop, they should evacuate all the fine women. Make it happen, Comrade Secretary. Greenlee said that when the International Space Station was the big game in town, there were 5 space agencies involved. Now, he said, there are 21 countries taking part in NASA's Artemis program to the moon. He quotes the Euroconsult report that concludes Canada's share of the global space budget is half what it used to be. A lot of countries want in, he said. We need to keep pace with the rest of the world. Countries such as the United States and the United Kingdom have a high-level body to ensure the interests of the space economy remain in the forefront. Many in the Canadian industry say this country needs the same. Someone has to be bringing the importance of space to senior decision makers in Ottawa, Greenlee said. Ultimately, it's a business environment, but government does have a role. Christie said the federal government needs to be much more consistently interested in space. Canada needs to move forward or move beyond funding individual projects and develop an overall plan for the industry. The federal government does not invest as much in space industry as they get in return, he said. Canadian support for space is well down in the middle of the pack. After all, he said, there's a tradition to defend Canada. Canada has been leading the way in space for decades. We should spend a lot more time on a position that is hard won. Sure. I mean, try to make or give people the tools they need. You know, maybe we aren't going to go send vehicles into space, but maybe we can provide the tools for them to send their vehicles into space, or parts, whatever. Got to do something. Got to stimulate the economy and get things rolling here. We must. Is at top of cabinet agenda. Very good. And we have a space economy? Apparently it's there. Yeah, you got her, DJ Ronnie G. Canadarm. Well, that's it for all the ones that sort of perked my interest there. Grizzly Gundam in Canada. Andrew Graham. There was something I saw here as well. I clicked on this, and it's called Manufacturing Job Site. I know it's Canadian, and you know, might get a little bit of flack from you guys, but I just wanted to. It's jobs. So right away, here's the latest jobs: a welder fitter, CNC programmer, industrial millwright, packaging operator, quality coordinator, logistics coordinator, maintenance material handler, a buyer, millwright apprentice. There you go. An apprentice. They're advertising for an apprentice. So if you wanted, and that's where people get their start at. Moose in the chat, eh? Jobs, eh? I'm gonna go out and get some smokes, get some beer, and go to my job, eh? After I pick up some Tim Hortons. But look at all these. This is how you get started as an apprentice. You can look for a place that has an opening for an apprentice, or you look for places that have journeymen, and you're like, hey, would you consider hiring an apprentice? Yeah, you should have gone into the trades. Now you just waddle, drink, and know things. That's fine for you. Tim Horton, here's a... Yes, exactly. And didn't you know Dr. Seuss liked donuts? What else? CNC programmer. I've said that before too. If you want to do CNC, be a CNC programmer. Machinist. Yeah, you can do that too. But programmer, because a lot of companies will just hire an operator for the CNC machine. He won't be a machinist, so they can pay less for an operator to operate the machine, where the money goes into the programming, where if they need to put a program in, then you're the one there programming it. Mechanical assembler, for gearbox assembly. There you go. That's a good one. Shipper receiver, journeyman B pressure welders. Yeah, you need a special ticket to be a B pressure welder because they'll do pressure vessels. And so then you have to have your welds x-rayed and such to make sure that they've got full penetration and they don't have any kind of defects in them. Another CNC machinist programmer. Welders. Production supervisor. Being a supervisor, you're not going to get dirty or get hands-on. So, a precision machinist for a manual lathe, up to $30 an hour. Wow. Steel fabricator, maintenance mechanic, industrial millwright. Yeah, industrial electrician, another maintenance millwright. A lot of these jobs are in Ontario. Field service technician. So field service means you're going to be on the road a lot. You're going to have to go to calls. You're going to be called out to places that need your services. A CNC operator for a 5-axis water jet. You ever seen water cutting done? Man, that is awesome. It is so clean. It's unbelievable how much high pressure water can just cut through steel. It's just amazing. Manufacturing engineer. We're getting into the French now. Superviseur de gestion de maîtrise. That'll be in Quebec, of course. Material handler, chainsaw operator, extruder. So that'll be working in a plastic plant. CNC machine, geotechnical, a boring mill. Lots of machinist jobs. Water cutting sounds fun, but leave Cubert out of this. Oh, maintenance mechanic. Oh, Jake D. You smell? Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? You smell French? We have to learn it up here, eh? Up until, grade 11, and grade 12. If you want to go to college, you got to take your French. Maintenance technician. Wonder Brands. Huh. Okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. So my point is, there is a lot of jobs out there for trades. Here we go. You can even bust it down to skilled trades and get the latest jobs. Like, it's unbelievable. So they are out there, and those articles saying that there was a shortage, it's true. It's unbelievably true. Sacré bleu. S'il vous plaît. Hey, you guys are pretty good. It is, we'll turn this into Learn French with Pop Culture Mécanique, hein? We teach you how to go to the dépanneur to get your beer. And then you go to the strip club, eh? They let you see everything. All right, so here's a list of skilled trade jobs. I just typed it in, and it's broken down into agriculture skilled trades, construction, food skilled trades, maintenance and repair skilled trades, manufacturing skilled trades, medical skilled trades, service skilled trades, transportation, and other. So it's incredible the sheer amount of trades that are out there. Look at this. For agriculture, you can be a crop duster, animal husbandry, farmer, farrier, logging worker, professional fisherman, rancher, tree faller, or a tree trimmer. Or if you're into the food skilled trades, a bartender, a butcher, a cook, food service manager, a private chef, or a waiter or waitress. Yeah, your manufacturing skilled trades, CNC programmer, like I've said before, fiberglass fabricator, iron worker, line installer, machinist, material moving machine operator, metal fabricator, millwright, welder, tool and die maker, I heard tool die maker is really hard though, because the work is so fine and you're always like squinting and you have to be very precise that a lot of them have eye problems after. For the motherland? You think you're French? You've just been trying to self-terminate since I found. Oh, well, don't do that. Are you all French or just some French? If you go to Louisiana Creole style, then you could end up French fried, which is fairly American. I guarantee. Well, it makes sense. They bought it from France back in the day. Yeah, this is, and it even says, like, amazing opportunities, it says. It's highlighted right there. Amazing opportunities. Truth is, trade jobs are high in demand. But choosing the right trade career to go into can be a tough choice. This is true. There is so many of them to pick. And if you can find one that you're good at or that you have a natural ability for, it'll be even better for you. It won't even feel like work. You'll be like, hey, this is awesome. And I enjoy what I do. French will wave the white flag, though, so it's more like just giving up. You remember the Simpsons one where Willie was trying to teach French? Bonjour, ya cheese-eating surrender monkeys. You should all join the Foreign Legion. Yeah, that's crazy. Head off to the Foreign Legion. Alrighty. I was going to show you guys a little bit of a little project I was involved in. Just get rid of that. And we'll bring up this. Hold on, this guy. There we go. And I'll open up this. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so for the where's Sadakar? He could tell us about legions. You know what? I haven't seen Sadakar in a long time. I've chatted with him like a month ago, and then I don't know what happened to him. He is in Scotland, but yeah, it is a time zone thing for sure. Yeah, I chatted with him, and then all of a sudden, just gone. Like, I don't know what happened. Hoping he's okay, and hope we see him soon. Because he was a great guy to have in the chat. Okay, so a while ago, as you can see, or maybe you can't. Anyway, we'll zoom in a bit here. Back in 2011, I was tasked with me and my fellow tradesmen. We had to change out some pumps in a pump house. These are the new ones. I'd have to look and see if I have pictures of the old ones. You think he lurks a bit? Hey, he might. I must have I have a lurker somewhere. Sometimes I'll see somebody on, but they won't say anything. And that's fine. You know, I appreciate you too, anybody that's lurking out there. I appreciate you. You're like the silent majority. We can go look up ways to summon Scots. Aye, first you gotta sacrifice a haggis and then grab your kilt and spin around 3 times. And then make sure you get some Glenfiddich. So these are the new motors for the pumps. As you can see, it's quite a strange configuration. You're lurking due to multitasking, but listening, hey, that's okay too. I don't mind, Alex. So yes, if we get I hope I have a good shot here of these. I'll come back to, there you go. So the top one's the motor. It's on its own base, and the bottom part is the pump here. And having a cogged belt in between, not the best idea. I realized they wanted to try to save space, but what you're doing is you're putting a lot of stress on the bearings of the pump, because you have to tension this up so it doesn't slip at all. Even though it does have cogs, you don't want it to like rip the cogs off. So fortunately, they changed it a few years later. They changed it so that the motor was lined up with the pump, and they used a coupling in between instead of a belt. But this way, we always had to change the bearings after a while because of the side thrust on there. But it's quite amazing that the motor is as big as the pump. And I'll tell you, trying to get in there to remove the pump, because sometimes we had to, we'd have to undo these bolts here that hold the pump together, and then put a sling through here and lift it up and pull it out. You got some Fittich, some Levitt, and maybe some Balvenie. I haven't heard of Balvenie. Have you heard of Glen Breton? I had some Glen Breton before, and it was cask strength. And oh man, yikes. Talk about punch in the face, knock you down. That was pretty crazy, that stuff. So yes, this is the new pump and new motor. And we had to, as you can see, the discharge pipe up here goes along. It's not done yet. They haven't done the tie-in yet. So we're still moving things along here. And as you can see, the pipe here has white paint on it. Anybody know what that's for? You notice it's got white here, and here, and here, and right here. Any idea? She's a pump. Housing. Mighty, mighty. You're not sure about that, Glenn? That's okay. Maybe we sing Rule Britannia, we can summon the whole Commonwealth. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here comes Australia. Here comes Canada. Here comes New Zealand. Here comes India. Okay, yes. And there's the inlets to the pumps. You can see right here. Pump inlet. Valve. Another hand valve for that pump. Pump inlet. Oh, there you go. I didn't think I had one, but if you look furthest away here, there's the old pumps back here. So we had to keep, while you install these new ones, we had to keep pumping with the old ones. So the old one is connected with a soft pipe here, and it goes around, where does it go? It goes around behind, there it is. It goes down here. Oops. Yeah, it goes down and around behind there and connects up to where it has to go. So the white paint on there, they x-rayed all the welds. So that's what they do to check, to make sure that the welds are good and they're not going to leak. I believe it's called, is it mag particle? For non-destructive testing. So that's how they check it, to make sure there's not going to leak out of the welds. There's our connection. I believe that's to the, yes, that's our connection to our new connection. As you can see, once again, painted. Check the welds. That might be in a wrong spot. Yeah, that wasn't the right picture. Anyway, here we are. I believe there's the old pump. We've disconnected the motor. We've disconnected the hose you saw earlier, so now it's just waiting to get taken away. I believe these guys are all hooked up. These guys are hooked up to the discharges. Yeah, they're in there. And I'm going to have to pull up the next one. Just a minute. I will pull up the next set of pictures I have. There we go. And close this. Good. Okay, good. So when we started, the foundation wasn't big enough for those pumps and motors. As you can see, there's that hose I was showing you for the old pumps to use while we put in the new ones. Because you can't shut down when you're doing stuff. You have to always keep everything running and then work around the old machinery. But yes, we had to extend this so that it would support the complete unit. More pictures of that. That is also not part of it. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. Here is the pump running. I think we're trying it out. Just give me a second, I'll give it some volume. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But we're just trying it out to see if it runs okay and it provides enough gallons per minute for what the guys need. And there you go. And I believe that's it. They were successfully installed and they ran for years. And then we had to change the position of the motor and put it in front. Put it in front of the pump because of the side loading we were getting. And so that was another quite large project to do, because moving these things around and you had to make another foundation for the pump and motor to sit on together. So it was quite the next go around. It seems to be what they do a lot at places like this, is they send you out to do a job. It's like, okay, well, you got to do a job, and then you do it, and then years later it's like, well, we're going to modify that again. Because somebody always comes up with something that they think is better, I guess. So, oh well, keeps me employed, you know. And it's a very, I find it's very gratifying work. You know, being able to take something that's broken and make it work again, or doing an upgrade or improve something that you can, you know, be like, hey, I had a part in that. I did that. You know, people walk by, they comment on it. Oh, look at this thing. And you're like, you know what? I'm proud of myself. I did that. So yes, these other pictures. Okay, so not a very good picture, but it was damn cold out when this happened, so I didn't feel like getting out of the company truck. But this is I had a break in the line up here. So we have what's called a recirculation line. It would pump from the lagoon and pump it back in, just to keep everything flowing in wintertime so it didn't freeze up. But the heat trace failed. And when the heat trace fails, it doesn't take much for it to freeze up. And it did, and it burst the pipe, and it went all down this column here. So that is frozen poo water. Let's put it that way. Yeah, and it's at night. I didn't get a good shot, but in the daytime, I was sent to have a look at it. And so there is the heat tracing. As you can see there, these two lines are heat tracing. That's heat tracing there. and it broke right at the coupling. So this is what's called a Victaulic coupling or a groove lock coupling. The pipes have grooves in them, and this guy has a rubber gasket that goes out between the two pipes, and then this guy clamps on into the grooves and holds it together. You'll find it in a lot of fire, what do you call it? For fire suppression and such. And when places have to have water in it, I think they must think that's the easiest way to put things up when you're installing, fire suppression systems and sprinkler systems and all that. So yeah, there it is there. That's the only thing that's holding it together is this piece of ice here. And the heat trace. The heat trace is acting like an anchor for it to hang on to, and so is the ice. So this is what happens when pipes freeze. And yeah, it was all insulated and everything, but it still happened. I don't know whether somebody shut a valve or something, but the flow was inhibited, and it was so cold it just froze right up. And there you can see my gloves there as I had to take the picture. So, and I had to break into the pipe insulation just to see if I could find where it was. And yeah, I found it all right. And yeah, there's the pipe there. And you can see the other break there. So, how did we fix this up? We waited until got a bit warmer. As you can see, it says February. So we waited a little bit till it got a bit warmer. We got a crane. We took these all down up to the break over here. We bought all new pipe, and we put all new pipe up until it made it up to the place that broke. And then that was it. We were able to pump again through there. We made it so that they repaired the heat trace, and then we got some insulators to come in, and they insulated the pipes. But it was quite the fiasco, as we had to get a aerial platform, or a genie lift, however you want to call it, to make it to reach out here, because there is no way to get up there. You can't stand on this cable tray or anything like that to get over there. You need a, what was it? Was it a 60-footer or an 80-footer? I had quite a long one, a genie boom to use. And yeah, I could reach from, and I had to stay on the level ground, and you can see this ground doesn't look very level at all. But I had to stay on that to get up there and disconnect all those pipes. And yeah, we did. I had a hand. I believe there was 2 of us out there doing this and then putting the new ones in. So yeah, let that be a lesson, everybody. Make sure you check your heat tracing. Always make sure there's power to it before winter. Tough to see what this is. Is that white stuff? Hey, Godzillionaire. Welcome. You've seen snow before. No, it's that was in 2019, so not too long ago, but long enough. Yeah, the busted pipe was pretty harsh. As you can see, it cracked it. I think it cracked the Victaulic coupling. Is that the planet Hoth? I don't know. Did you see any AT-ATs coming? Yeah, you can see the damage there with the broken. That's not supposed to look like that. So it broke the front part of the Victaulic coupling off. So yeah, this thing, you guys will get a kick out of this. So when you're taking in sewage and sludge from the lagoon, there's going to be debris in it that the pumps aren't going to like. So this was called a muffin monster. That's a brand name, but it's a grinder. These teeth mesh together and chew up anything that goes through. Right now it's pulled out, but it goes in this casing here. It drops down in this casing, and the sludge flows through this way, and anything that's in there gets ground up by these discs have gnarly teeth on them, and they spiral inwards towards one another, and they just rip up and grab things like anything you can imagine that's in there. So yes, a Godzillionaire, pre-grinder sludge. So we had to change this out because I think the teeth were worn out. I don't think they were good enough anymore. It didn't look like it was doing a good enough job. So we had to swap that out with a new set. As you can see, it really shouldn't look like this. There's just way too much debris on it. It should be self-cleaning, but I think it's because it was those teeth should be sharp, right? They're rounded. It's not doing its job anymore. So yeah, as you can see, there's an inspection port there. This thing goes in the top here. And there's two valves to isolate it. One here, one valve here, and one valve here. That can isolate that. And then you just take this one out, and you put a new pack in. It all comes in one package there. And then you're back in business. You're grinding up your sludge. So yes, in case you were wondering, that is what this is. This, I just had to get a movie about how windy it was. In the distance, you can see the dredge that pulls all the sludge out of the pond. This is a settling pond. So the dredge there pulls all that stuff out of there and pushes it through a floating pipe. You can see the wind is pushing the floating pipe. Yeah, so it's pushing that floating pipe, which is connected to the pipe on land, and then it goes into the pumps that we just saw, and through the grinder. But yeah, that was an extremely windy day, and you don't ever go out on the water or on the pond when it's that windy, because you're just going to get blown away, and you're not going to be able to get to your destination. So yes, we did go out in boats onto the settling ponds, just so you know. It was very disgusting, to say the least. So, when you think your job is bad, well, I hope that was a fun time for you guys tonight. Just a little bit of spreading the word about the skilled trades and how we have such a deficit, and how there's going to be so much shortages of work. Just remember, when you can, and somebody doesn't know what they want to do for a job, you could always throw it out there and be like, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you try being in skilled trades? Try to point them in the direction. They can send them to my channel. Send them here. Be like, hey, watch this guy. He knows about it. He knows about the skilled trades. Ask him questions. Ask him lots of questions. And hopefully we can spread the word and get more people into the skilled trades. It's lonely over here, We need more. We need more people. Like the Maytag repairman over here, just the loneliest guy in town. So, yes. So please, do what you can to spread the word, everybody. I know I do. Well, that's it for the stream tonight. I just want to say thanks for everybody that stopped by. I really appreciate you coming out, showing your support. People like Alex Moore and Jake D and Punk Waddle and DJ Ronnie G. Did I miss anybody? Oh, and Godzillionaire. It's always good to see the affluent kaiju. Yeah, no problem, Alex. You're welcome, buddy. I always like being able to provide some distraction, a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun stuff, fun stories. But yeah, please slap the like button if you could. I'd appreciate that. Tell your friends and spread the word, like I was saying. And there's other channels to visit besides mine, other good content creators. People like Pacific 414, Blaine's Escape Corner, Ronin66, DJ Ronnie G, Brandon the Anime Guy, The Nerporial Lifeform, and Punkwaddle at Floral from Under a Rock. I'm also on Discord. I have my little Discord thing called The Shop, because, tradesmen hang out at the shop, and that's where they shoot the breeze and bitch about work. It's like sunrise, sunset. That's how it goes. I'm out there on Twitter. I got some videos up on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble, and those ones aren't as, they're not as critical as YouTube is about some of the stuff, like certain using fair use video clips. I'm also broadcasting on Twitch as we speak. I'm hoping to get a larger Twitch audience too. They have that section of theirs called Just Chatting. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're just chatting. So I know I'm not a I'm not a hot tub streamer, but don't make me do this. Don't make me do this, Twitch. You don't want to see that. You don't want pop in the pop in the hot tub. So once again, it was a great time with you guys. I really appreciate you coming out. And coming up on Saturday, that will be the 17th, I am going to be doing my video game stream, Advanced Wars for the Game Boy Advance. I'm really liking this game. It's really fun. I know some people are watching and they're probably just screaming at their monitors as to the moves I make, but I've got to do what I got to do. And on Sunday, that's always Sunday Anime Chat. So if you're interested in anime, I always usually try to watch something obscure from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and try to bring it to light, especially if it's a hidden gem. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they're real stinkers, but you won't know until you watch it. So yeah, and then next Tuesday, same thing, Trades Talk Tuesday. We'll have a good time. I'll show you more projects and keep spouting the virtues of joining the trades. And until then, everyone, take care and have a Merry Christmas.